Hi, this is Chris, and this is the VGDS podcast with my co-host, Linda, aka the Gamer Girl,
What's up, everybody?
and with my special guest, DanCavDragon,
Hello, welcome. Thank you for having me again.
and our new person coming on the podcast, BonesZ06.
How's it going, everybody? Thanks for the invite.
You're welcome. So let's start it off with sleeve it or leave it. Now they can see on the screen the images that I have, which will be in the clip as this podcast is done. Um, the first game is 720. Linda, is that worth sleeving in your opinion or leaving it?
I would sleeve it. I like skate games.
I knew that. That was obvious for me, but for those that don't know that. All right. How about Dan?
Unfortunately, I will leave this game because I just don't like the way it controls. I think I was a big fan of the arcade version, and it's all about the controller. So this one, I didn't like it, so I'll definitely leave this game.
I understand.
Yeah, it's either you like it or you don't. And Bones.
Well, I do have some nostalgia for the 720 on NES. And you know my whole outlook on at least using dust sleeves, since I already have every one of my Nintendo games with a dust sleeve on it, except they're not as nice as yours. Mine are crappy plastics. But if it was up to me, I would still get a sleeve for it just because I want a sleeve on all of my Nintendos.
Okay, let's move on.
Nice.
Let's move on to the other image, which is a Sega title, and it's Aladdin. Linda, would you sleeve it or leave it?
I sleeved it.
And Dan?
Definitely, this is a sleeve for me. Out of all the Aladdin titles in the 16-bit era, this was definitely the best one in my opinion. So yes, definitely a sleeve.
Yeah, it's definitely like even in my opinion, like it's sleeve worthy. Um, this game is really awesome, I think. And Bones?
I'm actually going to go on the opposite of everybody. I'm going to go with not sleeving it. My Genesis carts, I don't think I would really worry about putting a sleeve on any of them. If it didn't have the original case to it, I probably wouldn't put a sleeve on that game.
Put labels on them?
On my Genesis?
Yeah.
No.
So
No, I just leave them the way they are outside. That's the way they are. I don't think I would buy any sleeves for any of my Genesis carts when I think about it. I
So-
would for Super Nintendo and 64, but for some reason, except for 32X games, which I'm actually going to go for them in box, so I wouldn't get sleeves for them either. But those would probably be the only ones that I would buy a sleeve for, just because there is no top label on it.
So the
Oh.
reason for the Sega is because it has the end label, and you can just flip it
Yeah.
up on its.
And for some reason, I don't feel the need to put a sleeve on the Sega carts in my collection. I don't know why. I just don't want a sleeve on my Sega carts. I kind of like them the way they are without the sleeve on them.
So the thing is, like, and I'm not trying to push the issue or nothing, but dust and dirt, they're gonna get on those contacts no matter what, because you're not protecting.
Oh yeah.
You're not protecting the game at all.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to bring it up.
Well, considering most of my loose games on Genesis are really of no value, they're the cheapo ones. The better games that are actually of some value are in their
In a
original
box.
plastic
Right.
cases. Yeah. Like I
You're a
actually,
maintenance?
me and Chris were talking, guys, and I was telling him, I said I have some Super Nintendo games though. Now I wouldn't do my whole collection in sleeves, but I do have some Super NES games that I do want to get some sleeves on eventually, like Final Fight Guy and a couple other ones. So there would be, that select game that I might do it on. If I would get a Genesis cartridge though, and it was very valuable, I would get a dust sleeve though, probably, just because it would be a valuable game. Like I said, most of the games, if it's valuable, I will try to get them in a case if it's a Genesis.
Nice.
Do you maintenance? How many games do you clean? Like, is it monthly, bi-monthly?
Oh, well, I try to get games every week if I can, Linda, but that doesn't
I mean
always
to clean
work
them.
out. Oh, I clean them all the time. I'll go through and I'll periodically pick some and I'll start. I went through and I painstakingly have wiped the outsides of every one of my cartridges down, every one of my CD cases. All of my stuff has been wiped down, and I just recently started a few months back. I've been opening all of my carts, going through an alphabetical order, and making sure that the insides are clean, the contacts look good. I ordered a whole bunch of batteries so that I can start replacing those if they're dead, because I don't want to leave dead batteries in the cartridges as well. So I've been starting to do a lot more maintenance, and just the upkeep on them. It's very time consuming. I spent probably maybe an hour this morning cleaning up the stuff I got yesterday.
That's not bad, actually.
No,
I clean the same amount.
Well, you're just talking about yesterday, though. You spent an hour, and your pickups was how many did you pick up?
2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and the U-Draw tablet is what took me a little bit, because I kind of was in there with toothpicks to clean around the edges and Q-tips. So I put a little more time into cleaning that U-Draw tablet, because that kind of thing I want to make sure is nice and clean. Who knows whose hands were all over it prior to me getting it?
Exactly. You never know. All right, on to the next segment. Guess that box art. Now you see the image above. It's an NES title. I'll give you that. We'll start with Linda. What's your guess?
NES title. I'm gonna say Final Fantasy.
No.
Okay.
Bones?
Oh man, that box art at the top. Well, oh man, go to Dan first. Let me look at this a little.
Go ahead, Dan.
Take this one.
Oh man, I was hoping one of you two would have it, but I've been looking at this picture and I am stumped. I see a claw, so I'm thinking dragon something. So, but I don't think it's one of the Dragon Warrior titles. How about I'm gonna totally guess. How about Battle of Olympus?
No. Bones? Anything?
Oh man. I was thinking the same thing like Dan, some kind of a dragon game, but I have no idea. I'm gonna go with it's an RPG though. I would take a stab at.
No, I don't even think it's an RPG, to be honest with you. Linda, you want to give it another go?
Harvest Moon. I'm just thinking RPGs also.
Dan, anything?
Ah man, you picked a good one. I was gonna say
I picked a good one last time. I thought this was a little easier.
I would say Altered Beast, but that's not an NES game. So.
Oh.
And Bones, you want to give it a go again or no?
And you're saying this is an NES game?
NES title. Yeah.
I mean, I'm staring at my collection behind me, and I can't see any of. I mean, it's a little overwhelming to try to pick one out at this second, but.
All right, you want me to give you another hint?
Yeah, go ahead.
The game starts with a letter A.
Is it Archon?
No.
Ah.
Athena?
No. Linda, you want to get another guess since I said I give another hint?
Okay, Oh. Dude, I'm drawing a blank here.
Adventures of Bayou Billy?
No.
I know the kid. That's the guy. We're gonna have to just start randomly saying all the names. Anticipation. Let's see what else there is. All the A's.
Arista King or Ring?
No.
Ooh, that's a good guess. I would have believed it if that was it.
I would have thought that Archon would have been the answer, but
at this time, like this. All right, it's also a movie.
Movie.
And I guess it's from the 90s. That movie.
The Addams
Alf?
Family.
Let's see.
Yes.
Addams
Wait,
Family.
Addams
Yes.
Family? Are you serious?
Yes.
Is that? Oh, that's a tombstone or something? Is that what it is?
That is the corner
Of
of
Family. It's the corner.
That's
of
the corner of
Oh,
Adams.
snap. Now I see
You
it.
see the green leaf, the green leaf coming down. That's part of the A.
Yeah.
That was a good one, Chris.
Oh,
Oh,
you did
wow.
extreme close up, man.
Yeah, I told you I was going to zoom up in on the box art. That's the way this works. At least somebody got. It took a while, but somebody got it. But that's the plus. Somebody got it.
Well, if you wouldn't have gave me the A, I would have been here a long time. I can't go through 700 games trying to find that. It would have been ridiculous.
The label, the ad, man.
Yeah, narrowing it down to A helps us out a lot.
Yeah, maybe next time that's what I'll start doing. I'll just narrow it down and keep narrowing it down, and then if you guys still can't get it, I'll just post it up on YouTube and see if anybody can guess it. If they guess it, I'll pin it like usual.
Yeah, because that was definitely enjoyable.
All right, let's start talking about Bones a little bit. Give us a little background of your collection.
Well, just like most people, I was in the game boom, so I wasn't fortunate enough to always have the systems when everybody else did. But back then when you were a kid, it didn't really matter because pretty much everybody else had them. If you didn't have it, somebody else did. So I ended up getting my Nintendo when Super Nintendo first came out. That was a hand-me-down from one of my mom's friends. So her family was like, you don't need two of them. You got to sell this one, and then you can have the Super Nintendo. Well, I ended up getting his whole NES set, which was pretty cool. I got like the Power Glove and everything. And that was kind of the start off. And from there on out, it kind of got a little here, a little bit there. There was a retro game store, which at that time it really wasn't retro, that I actually moved, no lie, a block away from. It's literally a block away from my house currently. So I live that close to the retro store I used to go to as a kid. And I wasn't allowed to have any of the other systems. I think I got Super Nintendo, I forget what year it was, maybe 94. I might have got it in 95, somewhere around there, because it was really towards the end of the generation. And at that point, I think, up to maybe 70 games for NES. So I knew at that point that I kind of always wanted to collect video games. I really enjoyed them. And like I said, everybody else was huge into games. If I didn't have the Sega Genesis, one of my buddies did. If I didn't have the Super Nintendo, somebody else had it. So that really got me involved in playing all the other systems, and that has just grown over the years to the point where I decided one day, I want to have that full NES set. So I went and I slowly started keep accumulating them. And I was one of the fortunate ones to get a lot of my NES games back when they were cheaper. I didn't get all of them real cheap, but you're not going to be able to get everything at one time, and you're not, unless you're lucky or you have tons of money. So that led from one system, which I also always collected multiple systems. I truly never got rid of almost anything except for when Xbox 360 came out. I bought it, had problems with it. It was out of warranty, and then I had to get rid of, I believe, my GameCube. I got rid of a brand new original Xbox, whole stack of games, just so I could trade them in and get another Xbox 360. So other than that, I don't think there was many times that I've really got rid of any kind of games. I mean, I've traded people over the years, some doubles I've gotten rid of, but from one system to the next, and they are 100% right. When anybody tells you that, you collect one, it can lead and spill over into another one. That is so true. It's so true. Because I went from having a Sega Genesis, and then that spilled into the Sega 32X. then that spilled into the Sega CD. And I didn't always collect over these last how many years certain things. I remember buying, I think it was Sega CD. I bought like a lot years ago of like 20 games, and then I didn't buy any other Sega CD games for years. Then I went and I bought, I think it was, what was it? I think it was Night Trap for Sega CD, and then that was the only Sega CD game I ever bought. So I don't always buy constantly for one specific system, and I try to keep it spread out a little bit. But as a collector, that kind of makes things a little challenging because you can't complete full sets if you want to right away, you know. But that also keeps some of the fun and the thrill into it. Because when you do finish one off, it was a great day to finish my NES collection off, you know, knowing that I'll never have that stadium events, nor will I pay for that stadium events. But having all the other licensed NTSC games is great. Uh, I want to work on the 64 one. I'm really debating on the Super Nintendo, but those are well, the Super Nintendo's a larger collection. Room is not really a problem for me technically, but just collecting all of them would be, I think, kind of challenging for the Super NES. So at this point, I don't think I'm gonna really push too hard for that one. I've kind of slowed down a little bit the last couple months as far as my collecting does go. I used to do a lot more buying online. Kind of fizzled away from that a little bit. Maybe if there's something that I want now that I can't find and I know I'm not going to find, I'll actually buy online. But I've kind of cut down on all the shopping online. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of like going out and actually seeing something before I buy it. Even a picture, you know, is good, but I still kind of miss not seeing the product before I buy it.
Right.
So
When it comes to retro, you kind of want to see it. Anything
yeah,
else modern, you don't really need to see it much. You kind of know what you're getting. But when it comes to retro, especially cart-based games, label damage could be a potential, pins being corroded, battery not working, which is an easy fix. But like, there's a lot more when it comes to cart-based games problems than it is so much CD-based besides scratches. So I definitely agree with you on that.
yeah, you know, the discs I have not too much of an issue with. The only thing that, you know, does concern me is disc rot. I do have discs on every system that I've noticed. Now, that granted, there's so many factors that play a role in disc rot, from usage to the manufacturing of it to what was used. You know, everything in general will play a toll in how long that disc is going to last. Now, I know that the older systems are like tanks. You know, you can pretty much do whatever you want to them. I can play any of my Super NES Segas. I'm noticing more and more over the years the CD-based systems, including the older ones, Sega CD, not my Dreamcast, that seems to be all right, but the Saturn, all of those systems, I'm tending to have more and more problems with, and I do worry that, you know, I'm collecting something that might literally just deteriorate over
Is
time.
it laser problems, or are you talking about just the CD in general?
Well, it's, you can see there will be literally pinholes through the tops of some of my CDs, and you'll see some of them that are literally look like they were peeling off.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot of factors involved. Did the person who had it before me leave it running in a system? Was it sitting in the sun? There's so many things, because I don't buy brand new most of the time. I prefer to buy used. I don't have a big collection of newer systems or games because I refuse to pay the prices that they want for them right now. I'd rather wait till they come down and then I'll start buying when they get cheaper, because I don't like paying $60 a game unless it's something I really, really, really want.
Yeah. Honestly, I think a lot of us, including the ones that are in here talking, we all try to stay under the price that they're coming out on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I always say if it's more than a new game that I'm paying right now, $80 is my limit, $60 is my limit, depending on what it is. So my PS2 is acting up. It's just PS2s don't have a good lifespan sometimes. The slim ones are a lot better, but it's acting up too. So I think it's just the Literally just the motor is just not good anymore.
Yeah, my PS2 is acting up now too. I have to actually put something on top of the Slim model. It's the flip up Slim to keep the door down because it's reading that the door is actually not shut on it. So I have to keep something with weight on it just so I can run the disc in it. But I do have backups. I did go a little overboard, and over the years I've kind of saved, like I said, everything. So I ended up having like 4 Nintendo 64s. I've got multiples of pretty much every system except for the uncommons like Jaguar. And I don't think I have a second Saturn either yet. No, I don't have a second Saturn as well. But most of the other systems I have at least 2 to 3 of. That way I have
I'm
a
gonna get a new
backup.
PS2 soon. I'm trying to get that, but I want to get the silver one. I don't want to get the plain black.
You know they have
I used
pink?
to have a silver one.
They have pink?
Yeah, they have a pink PS2. Slim.
Yeah. There was yellow, blue, pink, and red.
Wow, I did not know that. I knew there was white. I saw that. But I think that might be
The uncommon
Japan.
one, the most expensive one is yellow, because not many people bought the yellow one. So that one ranges from all the way up to $1,000. They're selling them for.
Keep an
Yeah,
eye
I don't
out.
know if I'd want to buy that for $1,000 and then use it.
Well, I'm just saying, like, keep an eye out. If you see it at a thrift store and it's cheap enough, you know to pick it up.
Oh yeah. Well, being yellow, most people might not even know that that was a PlayStation. You'd probably do a double check, like, oh, I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, the controller is also rare. Like, you can't find, if you find a yellow controller that was paired with the yellow system, somebody probably just sold off the system and kept the controller. But they're really more now.
I think I just saw a video on YouTube about that, actually. Somebody got a blue one and a yellow one, complete in box.
Wow. I wonder how much they paid for that.
Yeah, unfortunately, going back to like all these old CD-based systems, I've had to repair mine already. Most of them, you know, I've had to repair the motor or the lens, and the drawer doesn't open. You know, but luckily I've been able to find people either locally or online that are really good repairmen, and so they can fix just about anything. So I've invested the money to have everything repaired at least once, I think, for the CD systems. But yeah, as Jim said, I love the older systems because they are like tanks. They always work. They're always reliable. You plug them in, you stick the cartridge in, and it turns on. That's great.
Hey, Dan, have you ever tried repairing them yourself? Because, like, I repair my own stuff, and I know Bones repairs his own stuff, or at least tries to, and I know I try to, and I know Linda, she kind of tries to as well. Have you
Yeah,
tried?
I try to do it unless it's a capacitor or something major. Then if it's something that doesn't just minor, like if it's like putting a new trace or something on there, then I'll leave that to somebody who can actually do it, because I don't have a solder gun. Like if it's minor stuff, like open it up and then clean out everything and replace a couple things. Like I can replace a chip, like I have that.
Yeah, you can
Right,
do
let's
like plug
play
and
to
play
get the
stuff.
solder. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can repair like the mechanical issues. But yeah, I when it comes to soldering or any of the electrical work, I'm pretty novice at that, so I prefer to send that out.
Well, I
But
guess that means me and Bones are the only ones that can solder and desolder.
I guess so. But I'm not great at it.
I'm not great at it either. I leave the beads. I don't level it out. I just leave the beads. So I'm like, screw it.
The ribbon cables is what gets me.
Ribbon cables, really?
Yeah, if I have to screw around with any kind of ribbon cables inside, my hands are a little big, and
Yeah,
I
mine
tend
are
to
too, but that's
break
when
them.
like tweezers come in handy.
You're aggressive. That's why you rip it.
Yeah.
It's okay. Just do like he said, tweezers.
Yeah, I just recently got a set to use for it, an EEPROM remover and stuff like that.
Right.
So, yeah, I didn't have all the tools, and when you're trying to do it, that's the worst thing. Like, I'm in construction. If you don't have the right tool to do the job is a nightmare. Same thing applies to working on any kind of an electronic. If you do not have the right tools, you're not going to get through it with ease.
Exactly. Tools are of an essence when it comes to a lot of things.
Yeah. I mean, you can get through it, but you're going to be fighting and getting aggravated. You have the right tool, things can go so much smoother.
Yeah, I was able to mod my own Dreamcast, and that required some soldering. But yeah, it's good to know that you guys are here. I'll definitely reach out to you guys next time something breaks down, see if you guys can fix it.
All right.
Hey, Bones. So you said you had a complete NES collection, and you're working on a 32X. Are there any titles that you're looking for your collection? I know you said you completed the US for NES. Are you going farther than the US?
Well, I would really like to go after the PAL version games. Well, not the versions, but the PAL releases that were strictly for the NES. Now, I have been looking into it, and I could definitely do it. But at this point, I don't even have a top loader NES. I have 5 Nintendos, and they're all the old school flip with the door. There's no top loader. So I wouldn't even be able to play them technically until I get a top loader, which I mean isn't a big deal. But as you said, I want to go for the 32X, and I'm missing some of the higher end titles on that. And because I do want them in the box, that's kind of taken a little precedence over anything else. That and the Nintendo 64. So I'm trying to finish those two sets off before anything else. But I would definitely like to continue going after the PAL versions then of the NES cards, because the Blockbuster one, I think it's called the new Ghostbusters on the PAL version, looks so much better than the crap we got. And I would really like to try that one out. And there's a couple other games that they had, like Mr. Gimmick. I'd like to try that one. So I definitely would like to continue to go for the PAL versions of those games. But I don't want the, which I had talked to Chris about this, guys, once. I don't really want the Color Dream games and all those other third-party ones. I have a fair amount of them. I have almost all the Tenjin and the Camerica ones, and I have a bunch of the other ones as well. But all the other ones that I still do not currently own are at least $60 in value or more, and they're not good games. I do not need Baby Boomer, and I don't need any of the religion ones. I mean, I don't need any more of those, because those I know for a fact I'm never going to pick up and play. I do something in my room once in a while where I come in, and when you have a large collection, it can be a little overwhelming. You might not know what you want to play. So I will walk into the room and I will grab 10 random games out of the Nintendo selection, and I'll pull all 10 of them out, and I'll just start rocking through the games. If one really sucks, well, then I stop playing that one and I'll grab another one, because there are still titles in my Nintendo collection that I have not played.
Technically, you can do the A through Z and just like start at A and keep going.
Yeah, I was gonna do that, but then I kind of just went on a whim and started grabbing from the S's. Now, I kept it strictly in order. Like, so if I took one, I took the next 5 or 4 underneath it. So there was 5 here in a row that were taken out to try to keep it in somewhat of an order. So I do, which I don't really forget if I played a game before. I might forget how good the game was or what the gameplay was, but I don't forget if I've tried it or not.
Oh, and just
But
to
I
let you
still,
know, Linda's a Baby Boomer kind of girl.
she's a
That's why you
butterchuck girl.
call me out.
But yeah, I end up doing that, and then I can have a good taste of what I'm playing. Like, I've been playing a lot of Fire and Ice and Lightning and Thunder, which are just like puzzle games, or Thunder and Lightning. I'm sorry, and those games are actually really fun. And I never played them before. I didn't think I'd actually like them, but they were really enjoyable.
That's the thing about games. You don't know until you play them, and that goes for any game. Like, just because one person says, "Oh, that game sucked," but when you go and play it, you might see something that they didn't. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And to each their own. You know what I like might not be what you like. So even though I have a lot of games in my collection that, I know I'm not going to pick up and play, I will not pick up and play a Madden game, but I have a ton of Maddens in my collection. But if you come over and you're hanging out and one of your favorite games is Madden, there, go at it, play it.
Right. Well,
Do
like
what
the
you want
best
to
thing,
do.
the best thing about having that size of a collection is that when you do invite people over, there's a multiple. It's like going into a Blockbuster and looking at all the games and saying, which one do I want to rent today? So,
Exactly.
I mean, honestly, like if I had the collection as well, like I would be like all about like inviting people over and like and having like the way it used to be. You know, when you had to invite your friends over to play the game instead of playing online, that's the
Yep.
way it should be now. Like I still enjoy that. Like I would love to have people come over and just like sit down and play the NES, play the Super NES, play all the retro consoles that you can't play online. I mean, I think it's the best thing in the world to sit with a group of people like. And you know what? Also, you know what I thought was ingenious when they came out with it was the N64 when they had the 4 ports on the system on
Yep.
the console. That was like that blew my mind because I'm like, oh, now I can sit here and play with everybody at the same time instead of getting the adapter like Nintendo. They came out with the adapter that I never had to put all 4 controllers in at once. But when they came out with that, that was really ingenious on their part. I don't know who thought of that idea, but that was like great. And I sat there with my friends for the longest time. We played Cruisin' USA for a long ass time. We played all the wrestling games because the wrestling was hot back then. And that game when they who was it? THQ came out with that game. When they came out with that game, oh my god, it was like I had my friends stay over and we were up 24 hours playing those games.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. We just did that a little while back. Me and my two buddies, Tommy and Eric, they came over, and none of us have played through Majora's Mask. And for some reason, we all got the kick. You know, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna start playing Majora's Mask. Well, we didn't make it very far in the game. It took us hours just to get past the damn clock
But
tower.
those games are great though, like strategy
Yeah,
games.
but we never got back to it. And since then, like you said, people are busy, so we haven't even gotten back to playing that one.
Yeah, it's a shame.
The
Like,
feeling.
go ahead, Linda.
Ocarina of Time, and I was just there for like I'm still in the middle of the game, and like 15 hours of me playing, and I barely got through, and I made him just old enough just to get to where I need to go.
Yeah.
It's one of those games where you have to just like play a couple hours, put it down, play a couple hours, put it down, because if you do a marathon, you're literally gonna be doing like a whole day.
Yeah. Also, you don't want to wait too long because then you forget where you're at. You'll forget the controls. You forget, various things of the game. And that's one of the reasons why I don't play modern games as much because I don't have the time to sit there and invest in like I don't know, like God of War, for example. I don't have the time to sit there and invest so many hours, or Uncharted, so many hours into a game, and then I have to wait like 2 months before I can pick it up and play it again. That's too long of a span in my opinion. I don't know about
I
how you guys
agree.
feel on that.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Like I said, you can come in here and you can grab 10 games out of the NES collection, sit here and play through them. You can't do that on the 32 or the 360 or even PS2 for the most part because the games, they run you a long time and you're going to have to invest some time into it. Like I tried playing Kingdom Hearts again, and I got a little bit into it, and it was just like, I know I'm not going to be able to invest the time. I'm not going to be able to get anywhere else. I'm just not going to make it all. I didn't finish Final Fantasy VII. I started it. I got so far into it, and I still haven't gotten back to finishing that. I'm at the end of Skyward Sword. All I have to do is just beat the game. I literally did every single thing else in the game, but I still haven't even gotten back to beating that. So those logs and lists, you're right. I don't have the time to get back to them because there's so many other things I would like to play and try and do, and those take up just way too many times because you do put a lot of hours into those newer games, a lot of hours.
Actually, I can do that, but it depends on the game. If it's an open world game, I don't mind that. But if it's like a story-based driven game like an RPG, remember everything, you have to focus a lot more. But if it's like Skate 3 or if it's like GTA, I can pop those games in, play them again and beat them. And I don't mind if I have to stop and come back because for some reason my brain like I can't remember anything. But other games I'm like, dude, I know exactly where I am. I know exactly where I need to go. I remember the controls, everything. It's probably my ADD or something like that kicking in.
Yeah,
Oh.
most games I have to if I don't play them for a while, I just have to start over again from the beginning and play it through again. Because if it's a few months go by and I forget who I'm supposed to talk to, and or what the next thing I
Yeah,
need to pick up.
you're talking about RPGs. RPGs are like horrible for that. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, they
you
are.
just can't wait. You have to play it,
Yeah.
and you have to play it consistently.
Yeah, so more often than not, I go back to I just start it again, and if I'm gonna play it, I'm gonna play something after
That's
some time. Yeah, I'll start again.
that's what
Do
I
you
would do
save your
too.
save state and just play it back again once you figure out where you are?
It depends. I mean, I will save where I was, but I will actually start a new game, and if it's really cool, I don't really mind. Like, if it's a cool story or something in the beginning, I'll just play through it again just for the hell of it. But yeah, if occasionally playing it a little bit, it'll jog my memory, and then I'll pick up where I left off last time.
Nice.
That would happen right now if I put in Breath of the Wild, because I have not had that game in my possession for how long? Months. So if I put that in, because my buddy Tommy borrowed it and still hasn't given it back. He's well over 1,000 hours into the game,
Ooh.
God,
and
Jesus.
it's ridiculous. And I told him, I said, don't you think when you're about 1,000 hours in, you should
should
have
go
your
buy
own
it?
copy? Yeah. Oh no, it gets better, because when he first saw the game coming out, he came to my house. He tried it. He loved it. He went and bought a Switch. Did not buy the game. He went over to our other buddy's house, borrowed his copy of it, used his copy till that guy said, "Hey, I want my game back." Gave that copy back to him, and then came over and borrowed mine. He's just funny with it. It has me cracking up.
Oh,
But
man.
yeah,
Man,
I would be
I can't
lost.
keep that. That's too long of a time. I that's what I'm saying. Like Breath of the Wild is one of those games where in a time. I'm like one of those people that if I don't beat a game in that series, I'm not gonna keep going on to each series of the games and keep going, because I already know that's a game series that's gonna take thousands of hours just to get through all the shrines, all this stuff. Green of Time. Then let me go to Triforce Heroes. I already have those games, and then after that, Link's Awakening, Breath of the Wild, stuff like that. Because I already seen my friends' lists of all my Switch friends, and all of them are around 800 hours or more on Breath of the Wild. And I was like, no, I don't have the time for that.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild, I hear a lot of good things about it. I actually do have it. I just never played it.
You have it?
No, I have it. Yeah, I do have it. I actually do have it.
Did you crack the seal?
Yeah, the seal is cracked. My son played it. Yeah, so I never touched it. I saw him play with it like a couple hours. Then he lost interest in it because it's not his type of game. He doesn't like the. I guess it's kind of like an RPG, but it's really not. It's like strategy / RPG, and I don't think he's. Go ahead.
It is like that. It's basically you have to first before it, because it has to trigger something. It's not like Zelda games are not like where it tells you go to this and
Right.
then here's a puzzle. It doesn't tell you there's puzzles in this area.
Right,
You
you're
literally
right.
have to go and get like a something like a sensor, basically is a way to describe it. And then that sensor tells you, hey, there's a puzzle here. Go do this puzzle. Or there's a shrine. You have to beat this shrine. And then you trigger it to the next part of the storyline. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. Like when I started playing Ocarina of Time, I didn't realize that I had to do something beforehand. Otherwise, the story is going to make it even harder. So like I had to, before when I was a little kid, I had to go do something for a little girl to get a horse at the end. And now I'm like, I don't want to go back walking around and doing spirals and tumble rolls all the time to get where I need to go. I don't know. I'm going to keep going, but some people just like, screw it. I didn't do that part correctly, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah, you definitely have to figure out the puzzles before you go to the next area, because if not, then you're going to be stuck.
I do
Yeah.
recommend playing Ocarina of Time to completion, though. That was one of the best games I've ever played.
I'm still going. I'm battling through as we speak.
Really, Dan?
You know,
Best game?
I'm between Starlink and then Ocarina of Time. Starlink has taken up some of my time also.
Dan, you said that was the best game you ever played. Is that true? Like 100%?
Yeah, I mean, Zelda Ocarina of Time, that was one of the best games I think I've ever played to completion.
You played it on 3DS?
No, I played it on the N64, and then I played it back in the day when it first came out, and yeah, I just sat in my apartment and played it constantly in my free time. So I had to put a lot of time into it, and that's definitely that sucked my life into it. So that's one of the really addictive games I've in my past. I think that I spent so much time in.
But man, I agree. I'm. It's one of those frustrating games, but it's so good. When you get like a song, you're like, oh, this is the yes.
Yeah,
Like
again,
getting the songs are my favorite.
another title I own that I never played.
You break the seal on that one.
Oh, it's cart. There is no seal.
I was wondering because sometimes people buy them when they're like brand new and keep them sealed the whole time until like 20 years later,
no,
and they're like,
no.
oh, crack the seal finally.
The seal gets cracked as soon as I buy a game.
Well, mine maybe not when I first get them. Like I still have maybe 4 or 5 wrapped games that are brand new, and most of them are PSVR games, just because I haven't gotten around to getting to them. But
Usually, when I get the game, I usually take it open just to see the disc shape to make sure it's okay, because sometimes they fall out of the little holder on the middle. I tend to just look it over, put it in, and make sure it works, and then I just put it on the shelf.
yeah, I actually had to do that with most of my PlayStation VR games because I ordered them off of line, and when they ship them in the mail, I don't know what they've done over the years, but you used to be able to drop those cases, any kind of DVD case style, and the game 9 out of 10 didn't come flying out of it. Those new ones for the PlayStation 4 are complete junk. They get jiggled around, that disc falls right out. I would say 90% of them were just flopping around inside the case when I got them delivered here, which is another thing I don't like about delivery. But you can't beat the price online.
It's less plastic. They've converted everything to less plastic, so that's why the holder doesn't hold up the games as well anymore.
Well, not only that, I'm assuming that it depends on the machinery or the operator. Maybe they didn't push it all the way in.
Yeah, that could be.
I know a lot of people they return the game if it comes loose. Do you guys do that at all?
No.
No.
It depends on the game. If I crack it open, it's bad, then I'll throw it back in there.
Yeah, if it would be actually broken, I'd take it back.
Broken,
but if it was
scratched,
flopping around, I would keep it. I even have a disc resurfacing machine, the JFJ here. So if I need to, that's what I'll do with it. That's the best way as far as I found for being a collector to have one of those machines. Excuse me, because you can go out and find discs that say God of War you can find. And it's scratched up. But, that's not that cheap of a game. It's not an expensive one by any means. But with that game, if it's scratched up, I can bring it home, clean it up, either add it to my collection. It might be an upgrade to my collection, but I can still make something good out of it. I wasn't going to buy one of them, and I'm so glad I did because it's only helped me further what games I can actually acquire. That 9 out of 10, if I saw it there, I would have left it sitting on the shelf. Would have been like, oh, this is all scratched up. I don't want this.
The great thing is you can just be like, hey, can I get a discount on this since it's scratched?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can I get a deal here? Right. I'll take all of it.
And now I know where to send my CDs to.
Yeah, no problem.
But
much is it per disc to clean?
What's that, Linda?
Much is it per disc to resurface and clean and get everything?
It takes me about, 3 minutes to do it. It depends on what needs to be done to it. You can actually go after really deep scratches and sand down the disc. Now that is something that I truly don't want to do unless it would be something that's very valuable and there's no other way that this will work unless I would sand it. Would I probably sand the disc? Because like I said, just older discs, I don't know how well they're going to hold up to heat, and they get hot on that machine. So if I do not truly have to do one, I don't do one. As far as cost would go, I mean, the machine, I think I spent like $200 on, and then they sell kits that come usually with like 2 little pads. One is a buffing pad, and then the other one is a compound pad. And it's just the same pad, but you use like a blue compound and a white compound. and those run I think about $30 for that, maybe 40.
You know, there is a couple remedies that you can do before you can even do the disc surface. You know, you can put toothpaste on it, and usually that helps.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I've done that before.
Right. If you rub toothpaste around your disc with your finger, rub it around wherever that scratch is at, and then you just rinse it off and wipe it down with a microfiber cloth. It usually works 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Dave.
I have heard that. I mean, it's been around for years, but I actually never tried it myself. So
I actually have, because my kids, they damaged one of my CDs. It was actually Mario Kart for the Wii. They damaged it. I don't know how they did it, but they got like a really big, deep scratch on it. And I started looking online for things that I can try to do to fix it, because it's like, at the time it was a $60 game still, and I think it might still be up there in price. But all I did was put some toothpaste on that deep scratch, and after I rinsed it off and cleaned it with a microfiber cloth, it sure enough worked with no problems, and it still works now.
I do that with my work glasses on the lenses because I get them scratched up. I use usually toothpaste on it because it's not super abrasive.
Right.
Only done that once. I usually get that bit that you could buy, and I put that in there and buff it out. You can buy it like any game store that has like a CD based. They're usually about $7 if you don't have toothpaste that you want to use up. Because my toothpaste, I have the little beads in it, the Max Blast, so I don't want to do that. So I just buy the liquid that's like brown, and it's a little cakey to it.
Well, the game store right up the street from me, he actually does it. I think he charges $2 or $3 per disc, and then you can take it home. Yeah, it's not bad. You can take it home, try it. If it doesn't work, you can bring it back. He'll do it again.
To resurface, you're talking?
Yeah, he'll resurface them at his shop. But other than that, guys, I don't know of anywhere that resurfaces anymore. There is one CD store, which it baffles me it's still in business. It's called the Compact Disc Center, and it's been there since I was little. It's been around. They're still around. They might actually do it. But other than them, I don't know of anybody that does disc resurfacing. That's why I pretty much went out and bought my own. I kind of felt bad. I was going up to RC Video Games all the time, and I was like, hey, Joe, can you buff these out for me? And I'm giving them 30 games to buff.
Hey, but he's still making money, yeah.
Yeah, but I've known the owner Joe for a long, long time, so like he would do a bunch for free. And
yeah, but you're still purchasing games from him and stuff, so it's like.
Well, yeah, but I figured at that point though, Chris, shouldn't I go and buy my own, because I'm going out and I'm hunting now. So if I'm going to be actually out hunting, I should have my own way of cleaning them.
I mean, honestly,
and I don't know.
It's saving you money if you think about it, and time, because then you don't have to go anywhere. You just put it in your own machine. I mean, if I had that big of a collection, I'd probably do it myself as well.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to actually like cleaning or maintaining or tinkering with any of them, I get anything cartridge based. Just taking the cartridge apart, cleaning it, looking at everything on it, even the systems. It seems, for me, it's a little more enjoyable just to even tinker, toy around with them and clean them. Because I'll even periodically, if I have a system and it's been uncovered, because I'll usually throw a blanket over most of my stuff just to keep some of the dust down on it. But the Ataris and like the Intellivision and stuff, I don't have any covers on those. So I just recently went and I took one by one downstairs and I ripped them all apart and I cleaned them all out. Did the same thing, toothpicks and Q-tips and all that good jazz with some rubbing alcohol. Made sure the solder joints were all good on, because a lot of the Atari stuff is like permanently soldered into the board.
Yeah, it is.
I checked all that out, and to me, like, I had a blast doing that. I took apart the Nintendo 64. That was pretty fun. That wasn't terrible. Not as fun as some of the older ones. I've taken apart anything newer, like the 360. I've wanted to smash taking one of them apart. It was such a nightmare. I ended up cutting my finger on the outside shell.
The
those.
The 360 is a death trap to try to open. It is. I've done at least 4 or 5 because of the red ring of death. I've done at least 4 or 5 and fixed them, but it's a hassle to open that up. It really is.
I've heard a PlayStation 3 is really bad. I've never opened one of them up either.
I have actually
The fat
opened one
one
of
is
those.
bad.
It is just as bad as the Xbox, if not worse.
Yeah.
It really is. I did the same thing. Instead of the red ring, it's called the yellow ring of death on the PlayStation 3 fat system. I actually repaired that as well. You know what it is? It's just it's a heat sink issue, and you need more thermal compound on top of the processor, so it doesn't
Right.
heat up so bad. And some people put a copper penny there. It helps distribute the heat evenly. But again, that's just it's just terrible opening them things up. Sometimes it's just not even worth it. It's like, you know what? I'll just buy a new PS3 because they're cheap enough now. So
Yeah, really.
leave the other one for parts.
Yeah, I have a PS3 Fat, and I love that system. It was really good when it came out. It did a lot of things. You know, it had the memory, all the different memory card readers, and it was backward compatible. But it eventually, yeah, it had the light of death, and I sent it out for repair, and they just couldn't repair it. They said it was just too fried, you know. So,
Wow.
but I'd be
That's
I'd be
odd.
curious if you could take a look. Yeah, I'd be curious if you could take a look at that, Chris, and see if you could see anything
That's
else that I haven't.
usually what they do is, besides what I was talking about, they sometimes they'll bake the board, and that's kind of resurfacing most of the board. You can actually do that in your conventional oven, or you can do it like I do, and I use a heat gun, and it's a little tedious with a heat gun, but it bakes it enough to where, and you can set the heat gun to a proper setting, but getting that even flow on it, it's not easy, but I've done it. Like, I got my boards are working fine, but
So what is it? Does it heat up so much that the flow actually separates from where it's supposed to be, that you have to heat it up again and get it to flow back where it needs to be, that it's not making the connection?
yep.
Oh, man.
But the Xbox 360 and the PS3, all of them, they have heating issues because they don't have really good fans.
Exactly.
So what it is you have to either have a
Besides the
fan
bad,
blasting on it.
Besides the bad thermal
The-
compound that they used.
Oh yeah, they I think they were just rushing out the PS3s. They just rushed them out, like, it was bad. Or you have to just make sure you can't play it too long, but people will play marathons of like 20, 30 hours because, like, I want to beat this game, and then they're frying their system without knowing it. Solder, they're destroying the thermal, everything is in there, is not working well. And then the red ring of death happens, and then the yellow light comes on, and it's like, oh, I'll just get a new one. Should have thought of that, but they didn't. They said that the PS3 and the Xbox 360 were such good systems at the time that they could handle anything.
Yeah, anything but too much gameplay.
Which everybody did that.
It-
I played so many games that I destroyed. Like, I had gone through 3 originals and 1 elite, and then I finally switched. The Slim is the only one that's better than all of them. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's what my son, he has a blue Xbox 360 newer model. I forget which model it is, but
So there's original, Slim, and elite. Elite is the shiny one.
I don't think it's an elite. I think it's just, well, it could be an elite. I don't know, but
So-
it doesn't have any issues because we bought that like way after the fact, and it was just like one of the last Xbox 360s that came out.
That's probably an elite. If you look at the power cord, it usually tells you there's either, because how they made the connector. That's why, because when I used to sell the connectors, I would have to ask them, is it an original, Slim, or elite, and nobody would know which one because each one is different.
I do know. It's just I got the box though. I just never really paid attention.
So if you're gonna get a replacement, you should get a Slim. That's what you would recommend for a
PlayStation
new-
3.
No,
the
for
Xbox.
an Xbox
yeah,
360, Slim is your best way to go because the fan is a little bit better, and it's not got a shiny surface on it to where you're gonna scratch it. Get all fancy on the Elite model, and it just looks like crap after you messed with it for so many times. As much as you can.
Well,
I've not had any issues. I've had a Slim and lasted the longest out of all of them.
Yeah, I can't say much about the Slim because I don't own the Slim, but definitely not an original OG 360 because they just, you never know with those. I have 3 of them.
They're
And
Yeah.
okay if you do not play a lot for the
yeah,
original.
it's all a heating issue like we were discussing earlier.
You have to give it a break. So I would say max is 4 hours. Once you get past 4 hours, you're gonna start having issues. A fan cooling system going on at any time I have an original playing. I just do that, and then
the
also
disc tray.
Oh yeah, they do
Fuck.
stick. They stick.
Oh my god.
You know what you do if you just bang the top, it comes out.
Yeah, but that's you shouldn't be doing that to it.
No,
Come
no,
on
but
now.
that is a secret though. If you like lay it on its side and you bang the top, eventually the disc tray will pop out.
I squeeze it and it comes
Oh,
out.
there you go.
But I
Boy.
mean, that's ridiculous. Like I'm gonna need to get a new one. That's why I was asking, and because I have the
Stick with the
OG.
Slim.
I
If
haven't
you
had
go
any issues with the
to,
Elite.
like Facebook, and then there's usually about a couple people that are getting rid of like some Slims. They just throw them in with a bundle
Alright,
Yeah.
with the controllers and the games.
Yeah, I eventually had to switch to the Slim for both the PS3 and 360, just because both of mine eventually broke down.
Wow.
Yeah. I would say for the PS3, don't get the older model with the sliding door.
Out of
That
curiosity,
one's horrible
Dan,
too.
did they?
I never had that one.
They're horrible. They just stop working. You just have to eventually just manually do it for it.
Did your PS3 and Xbox 360 go at the same time, or was it like, were you playing games hardcore on your consoles, or was it just like gradually over time they went?
No, I mean, the PS3 I played more at the time, and so that one definitely died first. The thing that sucks about that is that I had so much saved games on there, I didn't back them up, and didn't have the cloud service then, So you
Yeah,
just have to-
well, you can still take the hard drive out of that.
yeah, I haven't done anything with that yet, but at the time I was playing a lot of the Lego games, those where you collect 100% of everything,
Right.
and,
Yeah.
and then I had so much stuff on there that I lost, and then
Well, it's still there. You didn't lose it technically. It's still on the hard drive.
yeah, and then
It's not that hard to take out the hard drive. You literally just gotta pop the case open, or
It's
on
one
the
screw.
back.
It's one screw, and you can get your hard drive out.
Yeah, I'll have to definitely do that then.
Go to YouTube and search how to take out a hard drive for the PS3.
Now, do you
Cool.
need some kind of a transfer cable or something to transfer it over, or
You can do
No.
one of two options. You can take the hard drive you got in the PS3 out, on the new one, and just pop it in there, or
You literally just take out the hard drive for
they didn't change them at
the
all?
the donor system. Take out the hard drive, put the hard drive from the broken one in there. Make sure it's the same model. It has to be. If it's a fat, get a fat. If it's a slim, it's got to be the
I
slim.
mean, I know there's a way you can transfer the files off of one to the other. It's not. It's
you have
possible.
to have a cable for that. If you're gonna transfer files, you have to have a cable, or you could just literally just pop in the hard drive. There's a machine that does it for you.
Yeah, I remember one for the 360 they had. It was some kind of accessory you had to buy. So
Yeah, it was
if
a
you had
Docker, I
the
think.
original one, plug that into the top of it, and it would go through the USB and into the new one, and then you could transfer your files. I do remember that.
No, they had one for the PS3, but I don't know how readily available you can find that one, because not many people did it for the PS3. They literally just took out the hard drive and just put in a new PS3.
Yeah, for the 360, I did do the transfer cable thing that Jim just mentioned. I bought one of those, and that seemed fine. Like I was able to get everything off that.
Right.
But the PS3, yep, I just started new with the new Slim and just started fresh.
Okay, so let's. Is there any other questions for Bones while we got him in here?
I'll have one question real quick.
Go ahead, Dan.
I think it's really cool that you actually play all your games that you collect. Is there any game that is just too valuable that you wouldn't want to touch it?
Well, no. There is no game that is too valuable.
Honestly,
that I would
Dan,
not touch
and
it.
if you have that too valuable of a game that you're not going to touch it, that's pretty sad.
I don't.
You
want
should
it,
be
then.
playing all your games, whether or not it's worth $1,000 or not. You should be able to touch the game and put it in the system and play it. Honestly.
That's exactly my outlook on it. If I want to throw a little Samson in, fine, throw it in. I don't want it complete in box. Even my 32X collection, I don't want anything sealed. I do have one sealed game, and it's Afterburner, but I have a loose copy of that. I already had
Hey,
the loose copy, and I got the sealed copy perfect at a great price. So it was like, I already have the loose copy. All right, I kind of will make the exception here, but I want everything open and accessible, no matter what the price is.
and
The only
honestly,
thing,
go ahead.
go ahead.
All right,
No,
and
you go ahead.
honestly, with the boxes, every time you open and close, open and close, open and close, eventually that box is going to start getting pretty messed up. The best thing to do is keep them out of the boxes. But then what do you do? What do you do with the game? Um, and I know I don't know how Dan does it, but I know he's been buying some sleeves off of me, and he puts his game in the sleeve, and I'm not sure he puts it back in the box. Is that true, Dan? Do you put it back in the box, or do you leave it out on the shelf in the sleeve,
Um,
and you just
if
let the box
if
be by itself?
if I'm going to play it, I will leave it out for sure. If it's something that I don't see myself playing anytime soon, I would definitely put it back in the box, even if it has a sleeve, which I think is pretty cool. It makes a nice complete package there. But yeah, you're right. I do worry about opening and closing the boxes
I mean,
so
if it's
many
a
times.
valuable game, of course you don't want to open and close the box all the time because you're going to ruin the box eventually. Like it's inevitable because of the flap
Yeah,
starts bending in, and then it's just. And the best thing to do is take it out of the box, leave it out of the box when you're going to play it. If you know you're going to play it for a while, put it in anything. Like I'm not saying just a dust sleeve, put it in anything that you have, and that way you're putting less fatigue on the box, less stress on the box. I mean, I would recommend that for you too, Bones. Like you don't want to touch your boxes too much. I would just get something temporarily, put them in, like especially if you're going to be playing them for a while, and
Yeah.
just leave the box alone. I mean, it sucks that you have to do that, but if you want to protect your investment a little bit, I think that's the best thing, the best way to go about doing it.
Well, honestly, the only games that I have that are in box, see that's the thing. I don't tend to buy super valuable games in a cardboard box. A Genesis game, yeah, those in those cases they hold up over time. They're
Oh yeah,
plastic. I mean,
exactly.
they're good. But as far as any of the cardboard one goes, the only game that I made sure I went out of my way that I do not open and I do not use, just for the reason of I don't want to ruin the box. I have taken it out. I have played it. I've tried it. Is Stack Up. I got a really nice copy of Stack Up in box, and I don't want to ruin it opening it and closing it up. I tried it out. I played with Rob. He sucked like I always remembered him sucking. So that went right back in. I bought an acrylic case for it, and then yes, I can play it if I want to, but I know I'm not going to. I'm like Dan, it's going to sit there. It can stay in that for now. There's only one thing in my room that I do not touch and take out of its protective case, which is the Nintendo Deluxe set. I have a very, very nice deluxe set where everything is in beautiful condition. The styrofoam's just starting to show some cracking, so I don't want to keep pulling it in and out. And the box has very few damage marks on it, even, and where the damage marks are is what we're talking about, right where you open it up and you pull out the little tab. That's where any of it is, like, there's bends in it. It's not even damage, it's literally bending, but everything in it is mint. The two cartridge boxes, the hang tabs aren't even punched out in them. I mean, it's beautiful. So one of those I will not touch. I will not open that up again. That's going to stay like it is because I know every single time I open it and close it, I am doing damage and it eventually will fall apart.
Right.
And I
I
don't
mean,
want that
it's
to happen.
inevitable. It's cardboard. Like it's gonna wear out in time. If it was plastic, then probably wouldn't wear out as much. Like you said, the Genesis, for example, they got the plastic clamshells. They don't wear. They break and crack sometimes because people are misusing them. But other than that, they don't wear out. So let's finish up this podcast with um, game of the month. All right. So basically, I'm going to ask you what your game of the month is, and you can just tell me. And if you want to give a little synopsis on why, go ahead. If not, that's fine. Linda, what's your game of the month?
My game of the month is Starlink. I heard bad
Nice.
things about it. It was oh, it's supposed to be a Star Fox game from Riff from Pixel Game Squad. And this is my first game for the Switch that I have. So I was like, you know what? Let me throw it in. Let me play it. I have been hooked on it because it's open world, each planet, and then from there, you can go to the main storyline. They don't force you to do something. If you don't want to do that, you can come back to it at another time. And I like that about open world games where you can level up your character, you can level up your ship. As you're flying around, little things pop up. Like you can have outlaws, which they call them outlaws, and they're purple, and they come in and they attack you, and you can avoid them if you don't want to fight them. They just yell at you like, "Oh, you better run," and you don't have to stay there and fight. My game of the month. That's I'm gonna be playing that for a while with Ocarina of Time.
That's like her game in the next 3 months.
No. You know what it is? I'm actually blazing through that more than Ocarina of Time because Ocarina of Time is taking so long.
Yeah, that's like your game for the next 2
You
years.
just keep going through.
Ocarina of
no,
Time.
Ocarina of Time. I'm gonna try to beat it before December.
Good. At least you
I'm
got a
gonna
goal.
try to beat
That's
it.
a plus. Have a goal. Have a goal set.
Yeah, that's my goal right there. Is Starlink. I'm gonna get that done as much as I can. I'm gonna try Starlink before October. I'm gonna try to crack through it tonight. If not, definitely next weekend. But Ocarina of Time, that one, I want to try to finish before December.
All right. And Dan, your game of the month?
Yeah, I have Starlink, by the way, Linda, and I haven't played it, but yeah, so thanks for pointing it out, reminding me that I have it in my collection. But my game of the month is Contra Rogue Corps, which just came out this past week.
Ooh.
Good title.
I have to warn you, it got really horrible reviews, like all Contra titles seem to do when they come out.
It's Konami, that's why.
Yeah, the newer consoles. But I'm just happy to see Contra back. I even like the really bad entries that were on PlayStation 1, and so I'm a big Contra fan. But if that's too much for you, then they also have those Konami Anniversary Collections that are available for download. One of them is a Contra Anniversary Collection, and that has all the 2D games of the past that we all know and love. So if you're a purist, go for the Anniversary Collection. But if you want to see how Contra translates to the newer platforms like PlayStation or Switch, definitely I added Contra Rogue Corps to my collection this week.
Nice. And Bones, game of the month?
Well, let's see. Considering I didn't get to play too many games, I'm going to have to go with the one that I'm just a little bit into, which I just started, and that's The Impatient for PS4. That's a VR game, and it's kind of like you're in a sanitarium and you're going through and you're finding clues, and the screen will like flash, and then you'll see like images of like the past, and then images of death, and it's actually a really cool like survival horror game. So I'm looking forward to finishing that one up. So that would probably be my game of the month, because other than that, I really haven't got to play many games.
And I'm in your boat.
Too busy.
I'm in your boat. I actually do not have a game of the month because I haven't played games. I mean, it is what it is, though. You know what? I'm making sleeves. What more do you want?
Well, I'm telling you.
One game.
Yeah, I've only gotten to like 2 other games. I played a little bit of Alien vs. Predator Extinction for PS2, which was awesome. Any game like that I love, because you like control the whole army, and it's like kind of like the Battle for Middle Earth for the 360. That I absolutely love that game. So anything like that I like a lot too, but I didn't get really to play much of that one. I played more of this, so that's why this one's got to be my game of the month.
Nice. All right, let's finish up this podcast. So I would like to thank all of you for coming and doing this. I know it's been kind of hectic trying to get together. It's not easy, especially with all of our schedules. So I want to thank you personally, all of you, for being able to come together. I know it's Sunday and we got to get, going for work on Monday, all of us, and especially the ones that have to really get up early, like myself and Bones. I'm not sure about Dan. Linda's 3 hours behind us, so she's good.
I still have a few hours left in the day.
Yeah, same with us. I don't know. Bones goes to sleep at 7 p.m. So he's out of it.
It's you know it's just ridiculous, and I guarantee you tomorrow is. I've got to install. Well, first I got to demo and then install a brand new hardwood floor in a kitchen and dining room. So it's gonna be a long day for me. And the reason it kills me so much is it's up, down, on your knees, get back up, down,
Yeah,
up, down.
I can.
And being 6'6", my ass don't go up and down very easily. Now
Yeah,
that I'm
I can
getting
only
older,
imagine.
you know?
Like I got a physical labor type job too, so I'm worn out by the time I get home as well. So
Yeah, but you like you said, you got kids, they keep you going. I have
yeah,
a quiet
right.
cat that lays there next to me. Unless she's bugging me for food, I could fall asleep. So,
Huh.
All right, I just want to say thank you, like I was saying earlier, and you guys are great. Thanks again.
oh, thanks for having me, man. I had a great time. It was great meeting you, Dan.
Yeah, thanks. Great meeting you too.
I hope we get to meet up soon since you're a local guy pretty much and you're a
Yeah.
PA. Are you
Yep,
going to
sounds
probably be going to too many games next year? Or...
Definitely. I've been going every year, so yeah, that's a definite.
All right, awesome.
Oh snap.
All right, Linda. I'll catch you guys
All right.
later. Thanks again for doing this podcast.
Linda, it was fun. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Let me know when you want to do this down.
Oh, definitely will. We will let everybody know.